What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Barnhill Brothers channel. It's that time again, Fire Picks Friday. So what we're going to do here, guys, is we're going to run down the main card of UFC 247 here in Houston, Texas. I'm going to give you my picks for the main card, plus a wild card fight that's either on the prelims or early prelims. Nick is going to do the same thing. We're going to spend about 30 seconds on each fight, breaking down who we think is going to win and why. Guys, comment below. Let us know if you agree or disagree with us, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without further ado, Nick, you want to get into your picks?
Yeah. I mean, you want to start from the top or start from the bottom?
So let's start with the main card from the curtain jerker all the way to the main event. So starting off, we have Ilir Latifi versus Derek the Black Beast Lewis.
Derek Lewis is the Houston hometown guy, so I'm not going to pick against him, but I also think he's going to win the fight for a few reasons. Ilir Latifi is naturally a thick guy, but a 205er, and Derek Lewis is at the top of the heap for the heavyweight division. So I don't see a smaller, shorter light heavyweight coming in and screwing up his hometown party. I think Derek Lewis wins that with a knockout.
Great. Okay, then next we got Dan Ige versus Mizrad Bektik.
So I know Bektik. I don't really know Ige that well. I've got my notes here telling me that they've got similar records. And this one's pretty much just a shot in the dark. I've got Bektik winning a decision.
Bektik decision. Okay, cool. Next up, we got another hometown guy, Juan Adams and Justin Tafa.
So Juan, I've seen him train. I've trained with him a little bit at our old gym, and he's a big body. He's just one of the biggest heavyweights, I think, in the division. So since I know him, I think I got to go with him. I think it'll be a slow fight because both of these guys are pretty young in their career. But I think he's got like 5-2, and his opponent's 3-1 or 3-2, something like that. I think it goes off all 3 rounds, and Juan gets the decision.
Okay, great. So next up, we got the co-main event. We got Valentina the Bullet Shevchenko versus Caitlin Chukagian. I believe that's how you say it.
Chukagian.
That's a tough one for me.
So 125 is running into a bit of a problem, and I would say the co-main event and the main event have a similar problem, even worse at 125 for the females, that there's just no depth. Valentina is very clearly the best fighter at 125 females across the board. She's arguably first or second best female fighter in 135, but she's naturally built to be a 125er. So she moved down, and it's not her fault that there's just not enough competition, but it is what it is. I think Chukagian is a tough girl. I think that she's the rightful contender for the belt, but I don't see her doing really anything against Valentina. I think she's too slow. I think her approach of kind of being like a pressure fighter is going to work against her. I think Valentina gets a TKO stoppage or maybe a KO, but probably a ref stoppage.
Okay. And then let's move on to the main event. John Bones Jones, the light heavyweight GOAT, versus Dominic Reyes.
All right. Well, just like I said with the co-main event, the 205 division is kind of shallow in that there's not a lot of people for John Jones to face. We know he's the best. He's the best fighter on the UFC's roster. I'm pretty sure he'd be the best fighter in the heavyweight division as well. But there's just not the high level of competition at 205, which is why he's, punching down towards Israel Adesanya. And, he wants to be a mega star. He wants to have the big name fights. And it's not really his fault that he's not. It's just there's no
gotta have a dance partner.
Exactly. If nobody's really getting up out of bed juiced for a John Jones fight, pardon the pun, when he's fighting people like Dominic Reyes, who, the guy's good, but 12-0 or something like that. He's really young in his career, and nobody besides the very, very what would you call them? Like the super fans of MMA know who Dominic Reyes is. So it's hard to really get excited for his fights, and it kind of has been for a little while now. I think John Jones wins by knockout, maybe a TKO fourth round, but I think the ref stops it, and I don't think it's a clean knockout. I think it's a TKO.
Okay. And then for your wild card, pick somebody off of the main card, either early prelims or prelims.
Yeah, well, since we covered the whole main card, I got Trevin Giles and Antonio Arroyo. Trevin Giles is a Houston-based fighter. He juggles being a UFC fighter with being a police officer. So shout out to the boys in blue. I think, that job's probably harder than fighting in the cage. But I'm not going to go against the hometown guy. I don't know much about his opponent, Arroyo. I'm going to go with a first-round TKO for Giles.
Okay.
Good one for the boys in blue.
Alrighty. So to break it down from the top of the card all the way to the main event, you've got Derek Lewis, you've got Mizrad Bektik, you've got the hometown boy Juan Adams, Valentina Shevchenko, John Jones, and you've got your wild card again?
Trevin Giles.
So a clean hometown sweep for you.
Hometown sweep, and people are a little underwhelmed with this card. It's pretty top heavy. I'd say the Lewis fight's saving the bottom portion of this main event, our main card. But I think we're going to get some good results in the fights. I don't think we're going to see a ton of decisions. We'll see a couple, but they'll probably be good competitive fights. And I think we'll get a few knockouts or submissions like we want to see.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll flip the script and ask you the same questions. Who you got with Lewis and Latifi?
So I, like you, also have Derek Lewis. So we have Latifi is coming off of 2 losses in the light heavyweight division. He does have 4 wins by submission, and we've seen Derek Lewis struggle on the ground at times. That said, I don't believe that he's going to be able to make up the size difference in such a manner that he's able to get Derek Lewis on the ground and effectively pull off a submission. So I don't think the fact that he's got 4 submission wins is going to come into play here too much. I will tell you what will come into play. Derek Lewis has 18 knockouts and 22 wins. He is got the major stand-up advantage, and I think Derek Lewis gets it done by size, power, and better boxing ability.
Yeah, and before we move on to the next one, Lewis has shown a lot of progression in his fighting style from using jumping kicks and all kinds of stuff. I think that he's going to be smart with his range, use it, and get a victory that way. Bektik versus Ige or Iggy.
I think it's Ige, Dan Ige.
Okay.
So I have Dan Ige in this one. Dan Ige has never been finished. He's won 4 in a row, and he's a great stand-up fighter. So Mizrad Bektik is coming off of a KO loss to the always tough Josh Emmett.
That guy's a monster.
Yeah, I see this. Both of these guys have good stand-up. Both of these guys are not afraid to stand. I see this as being a potential fight of the night fight here. This is a really good fight, but I think Dan Ige gets it done.
Yeah,
either by late stoppage or by just a dominant decision.
Yeah, those types of guys make you realize how deep the UFC's roster is. You hardly know who they are, but they're going to put on a great show. They got great records, so I'm excited for that one. What about Juan Adams and Tafa?
So going with the hometown here again, Juan Adams. And, we've seen Juan Adams in the gym back where we used to train. Juan Adams is a massive human being. He's one of the only heavyweights that actually has to do a regular, what you would consider a smaller weight class type of weight cut to get down to the proper weight of 266, and he weighs right in at the heavyweight limit.
He's tall,
very tall, extremely tall. His opponent Justin Tafa also weighs in at the heavyweight limit. The problem with Tafa and why I think Juan is going to win this fight, Tafa has not really been tested to this level yet. He has 3 wins and they're all by KO. Juan Adams, I was wanting him to show me more in his last fight against Greg Hardy. He is a Division I wrestler. He's got great grappling ability, but for whatever reason, he didn't explode out or try to better the position when Hardy was raining those punches down, which is what ultimately led to the stoppage in San Antonio. I'm looking for a little bit more out of him this time. I'm looking for something better. I think they're trying to give him not an easy opponent by any stretch of the imagination, but an opponent that suits his style and skill. And I think he gets it done by KO.
Yeah, that would be cool. Good luck to both those guys. How about the co-main event, Chookagian and Valentina?
I don't think any girl in the women's 125 division stands any chance against Valentina Shevchenko.
Me either.
I think there's only one way to beat Valentina Shevchenko, and that is you have to be bigger than her with an equal skill set, meaning Amanda Nunes. So there's only one person in the entire world that I think beats Valentina Shevchenko, and that's Amanda Nunes, because she has a similar skill set, meaning she's lethal with the stand-up. She's got excellent grappling. And on top of that, she's bigger and stronger than Valentina, which is why she's been able to get over on her. Short of that, nobody's getting over on her. Chookagian, I believe, yes, she has not won a fight by stoppage since she's been in the UFC. They've all been decisions, and many of them have been split decisions. She's got a loss to Jessica Ai and to Liz Carmouche. This is just a step too far for Chookagian. She loses this fight by knockout in the second round.
Yeah, I think she's the rightful contender, but at the same time, you're talking about the most skilled female on the UFC's roster, one of the most skilled fighters on the UFC roster.
Absolutely. When you're talking about stand-up, there's hardly anybody better.
And to your point, you have to have power to beat her, and if you're not finishing people, which Chookagian is clearly not, you're just not gonna. You're gonna give Valentina 25 minutes to do her work.
Yeah,
nobody
no
lasts
chance.
that long. All right, the main event: your boy John Jones and Dominic Reyes.
So John Jones is the light heavyweight GOAT. There's no secret about that. He's good everywhere. He's good on the ground. He's he's the kind of guy that likes to prove you wrong and does prove you wrong every time. What I mean by that, when he fights Daniel Cormier, everybody said, well, Cormier is going to have the advantage in one place. It's going to be in the wrestling. John took him down. That's just the kind of fighter John is. He finds a way to win. This is going to be no different here. Reyes is an excellent opponent. He presents something that John hasn't seen, which is somebody as big and physically strong as he is, tall as he is physically strong, good boxing, does have knockout power. He's just a little too green for John. John finishes him, but he finishes him late. This is a wear down. This is a beat down that takes place. I see it kind of similar to the Anthony Smith fight, where you see somebody that you think, oh, he's got the skill set to get in there and contend with John, and then you realize very quickly that this is not going anywhere for Reyes.
Yeah, he said he's not afraid to get knocked out, to try to get the knockout, which in my opinion, that's the only way you're going to beat John Jones. He's shown us that his skills are pretty much better than everybody else, not just in his division, but in the UFC. And he's kind of like what you were saying. He likes to... I think of anything you can do, I can do better, is John Jones' thing. If you throw something at him, he's going to throw the exact same thing back at you sometimes and just do it a little bit better than you're doing it.
Absolutely.
So, I'm excited to see that one.
So for my wild card pick, I picked the ladies here. So we got Lauren Murphy versus Andrea Lee. Lauren Murphy, this is going to be a good fight, by the way. Andrea Lee was a pro kickboxer before she made her move into MMA. Lauren Murphy is an excellent stand-up fighter. We're talking about the women's division here, where 8 of her 11 wins were by knockout. That's almost unheard of. And she's training out of the MMA lab. She's got some great training partners. I think that Lauren Murphy gets it done in an excellent fight that also could be a finish of the night or fight of the night type of candidate.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm excited to see it. The ladies have really been putting on good shows for us lately, so got to thank them for that. Well, I guess that kind of rounds out this whole card. I'm glad it's in Houston. We're still on the verge of buying some tickets. We might go, we might not. We love the Toyota Center. We love the Rockets. Everything that happens over there is always a good time.
That's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. So those are our picks. Comment below. Let us know if you agree or if you disagree. Let's have a discussion over there. And, so make sure you tune in next Friday. We'll talk about who was more accurate this week, and we'll give our picks for the upcoming fight. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great weekend and enjoy the fights.